Cadson Demak presents Behavioral by Design Using Behavioral Science and Nudges by Napat Satayut and Thamaset Bunprasha.
Good morning and welcome everyone to the very first session for today, a group conversation day. An absolute pleasure to have you here with us. We will gonna talk about behavioral science.
Yes.
For you will go through all your familiar topics about brand design, font design, and type design.
Yes.
We'll talk about the behavioral science and behavioral design. And you may be wondering who is these two guys going to talk about behavioral design. We would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Atom Thamaset Bunprasha.
Yes, I'm Bean Napasatayut. I'm graduate from Paris about behavioral economics. So today both of us represent NASH Thailand. So NASH Thailand is an organization that making behavioral insights into practical and accessible for Thai people, but maybe not limit to Thai people. If you're interested, you can talk and discuss with us. And for a year, right, we collaborate with Cadson Demak to design the podcast named Samut Pok. This is the icon of our podcast. You can find it on YouTube of Cadson Demak channel. So let Atom explain what is Samut Pok in English and why it's important to our podcast.
Okay, so Samut Pok is a Thai word for a school report card or a book for Thai people. That book archives our examination score and grades. But apart from the score and grades, it's also have a part for teacher's note and our parents' note that they describe our behavior, how we behave at the school, how we behave at our home. So here is the example.
Yes,
Here is
yours.
mine. Is my Samut Pok when I was in the secondary school. So our podcast will tell you insight, explain why and how if you would like to design the behavior.
I think it's time, so let's begin our
So
podcast.
let's begin our live podcast.
Okay.
So are you ready, Kun Bin?
Look at the camera. 3, 2, 1, action.
Have you ever wondered why people are doing things even when it seems irrational? Have you ever tried to change a habit like healthier, exercising more, and you found it surprisingly difficult? Let's deep dive into them to the story of behavioral science. You're with me, Atom Thamaset.
And I'm Bean Napasatayut. This is Samut Pok, your behavioral cheat sheet by science. Okay, let's start with the keyword, the topic today. We're talking about the behavioral design. What comes up to your mind when I'm talking about behavioral design?
Behavioral design, I think about when we decide to do something with our behavior, when we intend to change our behavior, start new behavior we want, or stop and decrease the behavior we didn't want. We wouldn't like that.
Sometimes we have intention to do some certain things, but sometimes we can do that, or sometimes we can't. And sometimes it's like the starting new habits that we would like to have. So that is behavioral design, right?
Yeah, it's in my mind.
Okay.
I don't know, is that correct?
And if we talking about the behavior that we would like to design, can you list me an example of behavior that you would like to design?
Behavior that I would like to design is like exercising more, saving money more,
Okay.
and maybe to stop
Unhealthy?
subscribe the streaming channel
never
that we
do.
never watch it.
Okay, that is a behavior that you would like. So when we're talking about behavioral design, so we have a lot of tons of behavior that we behavioral economists and or sometimes people call behavioral scientists that would like to explore and trying to understand to make it happen in real life. So why those behavior importance to you?
I think because like if we have maybe a better behavior, we can be a better person. We can like live a better life.
Yeah, so that is you emphasize the important keyword because when we would like to do behavioral design, sometimes it doesn't include just only individual, but we care about society or some behavior that happens in business, so that you can make your customer delight or you have can guide them to a certain way of behaving. And does it work in the past that you can nudge or you can design those behaviors?
Those behavior I just said The answer is like yes and no, like some in between, some behavior we have start when we have a new year resolution. But when the end of January and February start, then the behavior we
Stop.
try to start is stopped. Yeah.
Now this in February, so it stopped already.
All the things I have said is stopped already.
So today we're gonna deep diving into what I can give you as an example of behavioral science, because some people might know it already and some people might it's new for them, so that you have some keywords to explore. I think we are gonna start with some game. So we start that. Do you think, are you rational?
Some part of me have to be rational.
Okay.
So we ask our audience
Okay.
the question.
So let's see. Who think I'm rational? Choice A. Raise your hand. I'm rational. Yeah, you're more rational. And who think, no, I'm not that rational, I'm emotional? Raise your hand. Wow, because we are creative, we are in design. So this is just a small experiment that we would like you to do. So your job is to add the number on the screen, add quickly and say it out loud. What is the total sum of this number? Let me give you example. This is,
10,
and then,
20, 25,
yeah, but more confident. So let's try again. So this is
10, 20,
20.
25.
Okay, so let's do this. Are you ready? More confident, say it out loud, and make sure that you sum it up together. Okay, let's go. 1,000,
1,000, 1,040,
Are you sure that this is 6,000? Actually, the correct answer is 5,100.
So what just happened could be
Yeah,
so
because like-
why our brain
4,090, 5,090 plus 10 is
6,000.
Not 6,000. If in this case, I gotta be rich if I take money from you. So this is the small experiment that would like to explain that our brain, it doesn't rational all the time. And for the complex tasks, for example, the number that is like difficult, maybe you need calculator. Even the number in the past, like 5,100, some people in today's, they're doing in calculators already. Because like in our brain, sometimes we would like to decision fast, think fast, and this is like designed for simple calculation, but not designed for the complexity. Our rationality, when we ask the question, are we rational? Actually, we're rational, but our rationality is bounded. It's bounded by three things. First, it's bounded by the time. Because like in the last exercise, I click it quickly and faster. You have to process it quick. The second thing is about the information. If I would like you to make decision in some certain things, but give you some limited of information. Sometimes you have to imagine more to make you confident to make decision. But that is maybe not true. And sometimes it's bias. But brain and yourself would like to create some information more to make you more confident to judge or make decision on something. And the last one is about the brain power, because we have mental capability that's limited. Maybe you want to do exercise or you want to be healthier, but you plan that things in the evening. All through the day, you have back-to-back meeting. You have to decide and discuss with people all the time. Maybe that things that you plan in the dinner time cannot be happen.
That because like when we do a lot of things along the day, our brain power is decreased.
Yes.
So that affects our behavior.
Yeah, and the self-control problem happen. This is one of kind of topics that we interest is the self-control problem, because we have a lot of factors that impact the self-control. This is an example of the reason why we can't. So when our brain and our capability is limited, so we design, not we, but our body, our mind, design the heuristic, or we call it the cognitive bias, to make that we can make decision faster, quicker, and make us survive. And also when we have that kind of system in place in our brain, so we can do things, cannot maximize everything, but what we can do is just satisfy things. So satisficing is the mix between satisfy and suffice. So it means that we can choose a solution that is just good enough. We cannot find the best possible that available at that time, but we just go with the good enough. For example, the best options that you can find. But sometimes like the food, or sometimes when you have to make decision fast, you just can have doing that just good enough that you can do that.
Because like we have limited time,
Yes.
limited brain power, and limited information.
Information.
So we just decide as good enough as what we have.
Yes. So when we knowing this, when we design or we would like to design the behavior, we come back to the principles. But this is like to simplify the brain and the neuroscience. We simplify them into two systems. We call it dual process theory. So we have the system one. System one is like emotional. We act fast. We do it automatic. And sometimes it have an errors. But that errors, it doesn't harm our life. For example, how much toothpaste in your toothbrush.
That is system one.
Yeah, system one.
You don't
because-
even have to think how much toothpaste.
Yeah, even we have errors, just that glimpse, so it's fine because it's not do harm of yourself. And we have the system two. It's more logical. We do it for business decision. And I'm not sure that our customer, like the company that would like us to design things, they make decision on system one or more in system two. But the financial, the invoice, that billing them, the thing in system two.
Yes, the financial come in system 3. It's more complex.
Yeah, it's like meta cognition about thinking. So this is an example. I will repeat the keyword system one and system two along our conversation.
Okay.
So that to conclude, system one is fast, emotional, maybe biased a bit, but it's fine.
Just like it's going with our guts. It's
Yes.
system 1.
And system two is like more on complexity, logical. We would like to make reliable decision.
Can you give an example when we use system 2?
Yeah, just when we open Excel file and we do the spreadsheets and
Okay.
try to make the calculation on that, that is like the important decision that made by system two. Or sometimes we asking ourselves like what is pros and cons and what is the consequence of that. That's kind of like system two.
Because we like use our thought, our cognitive.
Yeah,
to
more.
more.
Take time a bit because system one we don't have time. So
Okay.
give you an example more. So if you would like to think fast, let me ask you about what did you eat yesterday dinner?
Pizza,
Why you chose those pizza?
because it have a promotion.
Yeah, this is an example because like we haven't rational because I ate pizza because have nutrition like this because that kind of decision is rational. It's kind of like today I just lacks of protein 20 grams so that
So that is system 2 thinking.
this is system two. But normally in everyday life we use the system one. We decision by emotion. And the promotion trigger us interesting, so we order that.
But I also used system 2 in ordering pizza yesterday.
Yeah,
I
why?
comparing promotion in Grab application. I'm comparing promotion in their website already.
But start by trigger by emotion that okay, my choice is pizza.
Yeah.
What kind of pizza I'm gonna do? Yeah, sometimes you start by emotion. We start by the social, like you see others. Because some other people might say that because my mom bring you to this place, my friends tell that this is like good restaurant in Bangkok, so I went there. So this is like by social. And another one is about experience. I taste this before, and when I walk past this street, I remember that this place have a good like duck rice, something like that. So this is like system one. You haven't rational that like you lack of vegetable, you lack of vitamins, but you just go directly and find what you want to eat. But the system zero is like instinct. Sometimes you haven't eaten anything for a long days, but you can when you find something that you can eat, you just choose directly. You haven't even think or haven't compare. Just what you can eat, just eat. So this is an example. So give you the glimpse of the example like in the more design. So in the past, we would like to make people drive slower in the sharp curve. So what do you do or what we think that we should do to make them drive slower?
Okay, to make us drive slower, there is a sign.
Yes?
Yes, a sign, and maybe it's like a line on the street, the obstacle that make it go, and
Okay, the
we
bumper
drive.
or something like that.
Yes, bumper,
Yeah.
and drive slowly.
Yeah, sure. We come back to and our intuition that people should be rational. When people see the sign like please drive slower or sharp curve ahead, so maybe they will push their brakes and slow down. But when you see this sign, do you slow your car?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's good. You are a good driver. So this is an example that we try to use system tool in design. But sometimes when we put the design in place, this is the example in the Chicago Shore Drive in 2006. What they did is the optical illusion. So they start with the line. At the beginning is a broader line, like the line with the broader. But when you drive faster or you drive more, before you go into the curve, the line just narrower.
The line is narrow and frequent line we see when we drive.
Yes. So when you look at this, when you drive, at the beginning you feel like, okay, it's fine. But when you're at the sharp curve, the line become narrower. So the optical illusion, the line comes to your eye faster. And it's automatically, you push the brake. You don't have to have the sign that please slow down, but with the line coming through your eye faster, sometimes you push the brake automatically. And this, and the experiment by the 6 months there, so we have the 6% fewer car crash at that sharp curve. So this make it happens when we use design into behavioral design. But come back when I think about Thailand, if we do this line, maybe it works or might not work. But we're thinking this kind of things happen in
It
Thailand.
has to be work with Thai people.
Yeah, so we have to understand the context because like Spirit House, it reminds you of that maybe accident in this road or something like that. But it might work in the daytime because even you see the Spirit House, you can be more aware and drive slower. So this is like the example.
Okay.
What if I put like a sign like concentrate on your driving with this font type and with the word like trigger. Could you please read it for me?
Don't look much on the spirit house. Maybe what you see is not the spirit houses are standing, but someone is standing and waving at you.
Yeah, maybe this is like the storytelling or the sign that make people aware. But what if we change the font a bit? So maybe in our mind, might read in this case, don't look much on the spirit house. Maybe what you see is not the spirit's house are standing, but someone is standing and waving at you.
That because of your voice.
Okay, it's not because of our, but maybe when your mind sees this, you might read that in that certain way.
Okay.
Whispering makes things more attention.
So now it trigger all
Okay.
our audience.
When
in
you
this
walk
hall
out this
up
room,
and
the
drive
spirit house,
home.
spirit house is along the way back to your home. So this is an example that we start with behavioral design, but principle, maybe people start with rational thinking, but now when we realize that we have heuristic, we have the system one in place in everyday decision, maybe we have to think about what can we make use of them.
So this is like the example of when you try to design the behavior on the rationale of behavioral science. But we have heard that like a word behavioral science and behavioral economics.
Yes.
What is different?
Because when I study in Paris. My major is behavioral economics. But when I come back and working, we not use that behavioral economics, but we use the behavioral science. Because the behavioral economics is start with that people are rational and we design things, choice, option, or policy based on that rationality. But we found that people are not rational. People think about fairness. People think about the reciprocity. People think about the other things. So that we combine the psychology as a factor in the model to explain why people not behave in that way. And when the science become more evolved, so we put the cognitive science. We would like to understand what they interpret, what they recall of, or what they remember in that choice or that certain things. So we combine more things like anthropology, biology, a lot of things, and we call it behavioral science. And today, what I will give you an example and tips for you, it's about the nudges. Nudges is from Richard Taylor. He's won the Nobel Prize in 2017. Like he combined things about like nudging behavior. So nudging behavior, the definition is we would like to influence people in the direction that we would like to by designing the subtle change in the environment or in the choice. But we still not restrict. We don't restrict their freedom. They still have freedom to change or freedom to choose. We didn't eliminate the choice, but we designed the context to make them nudge into that certain way.
So nudge is like design the environment around.
Or choice, or message, or emotional at that moment, the timing. So let's see the example as well to understand. This is the example, the classic example when we would like to explain the nudge. For example, normally we would like to make the toilet clean. We put the sign, please keep the toilet clean. We put the symbol to make people know how to use it more cleaner. But one thing we found that when we put the sticker or we printed the fly in the urinal bowls, dirtiness is reduced more than 80%, and the cost of cleaning is reduced approximately 8%. So why this happen? Put just the fly in the urinal.
Because like when we see the fly, we want to like get them away.
Yeah, we want to shoo. Just
We
want,
want to like
let it go. Want to shoo them away. Yeah. But this is the insight when we combine like design with the psychology or some insight of behavior. There are three things, the three explanation. First, when a man peeing on this urinal bowl, they just do randomly. They don't know what to aim at. So this is like the first principle that they think about because they don't know this is also white and they don't know where to aim. So when we put the flies on that, we have the target. So that's why it works. Because we change it to like Nemo fish, we change it to the goal of the suckers, it works, but it doesn't work well as the flies. And sometimes we change it to the spider. It doesn't work at all because people might think that spider will
I will choose
bite them.
another urinal if
Yes,
there's
true.
spider on that.
So this is the example of nudge because when you see this thing, you can change the direction. You can aim at another direction. But by intuition, by like automatically, you're gonna aim at that accidentally. This is the definition of nudge. So we use the heuristic, the cognitive bias, a lot of heuristic to design things. So let Atom recap a bit first and the second
So
part.
we have talked about the behavioral design is about our behavior we would like to have or the behavior that we would like to stop. And about the behavioral science is combine many science together. For example, psychology, cognitive science, and economics. So that's why sometimes we call it behavioral economics. And you talk about nudges.
Yes.
Nudges is a concept, right? That we design the environment around and sometimes designing choice to make people choose something.
In the certain way that we would like
Yes,
them
because
to do.
if I got the word nudge, it
Yes.
reminds me the nudge in the MSN Messenger. I
Oh,
think all of the audience,
Yeah.
like part of the
MSN.
audience can remind the MSN Messenger.
Nudge is like poking, like
Nudge
nudging.
it-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's shaking our laptop, yes. So maybe now we understand what is behavior, what is behavioral design. So I think you have five tips.
Before we go, just this conversation, we can have more conversation after this. 5 tips that I can give you before I go off of this stage. We have first one, we have the loss aversion heuristics or bias. We tend to feel pain than we feel on what we gain. For example, if I have the choice sending into email like get you $50 by clicking this email, and I send you like don't lose your $50. Maybe on the first choice, you just get you $50. It's fine. I just feel normal. When I see the subject of that email said that don't lose your $50. Okay, maybe just open that for a bit. Why I gonna lose my $50? So we feel triggered by the loss aversions because we feel averse what loss. And the example on the screen, there's option A, there's like the medicine or drugs with 30% chance you will die. And the option B is 70% chance you will survive. Actually, this is the same choice. But when we do experiment in every places, even people know that this is the same things. But people tend to choose B. Because even you know that it's the same things, but your brain and your emotion feel triggered that even I know it's the same, but I'm gonna choose B. Because with the word die or with the word loss,
We're not gonna
comfortable with
choose that.
Yeah. Or sometimes in the service, we change the framing a bit. Like paying by cash, you get the discount of 3%. Instead of saying that paying by credit card, you charge more, additional 3%, something like that. This is like the example of loss aversion. And the second one, we have a lot of behavioral friction. So the behavioral friction is when we would like to facilitate some behavior happens. So we design things like we have the plan of behavior. We would like to eat this kind of diet. So we design them before because if we make decision at the time of lunch or dinner, we cannot think about the rational choice, but if we plan that ahead so that we just follow these things that we plan. Sometimes we just make it as a meal box or lunch box and bring it to the workplace so that at the time that we are very hungry, we just take that and eat.
Don't have to think at that time.
Yeah,
that
we
like,
don't have to make
to
decisions.
make it easier.
Yeah. The keyword make it easier, like the canteen on the right-hand side, just put the water bottle more places in the canteen. We can drive 25% more in buying that bottles of water. So make it more easy, reduce the friction, can make the behavior happens. Another one is about the Apple, the McDonald's. Normally in the past, like Happy Meal just serve French fries for kids. The Apple slice, people order just 4 out of 10. But when they change into the default, like they automatically serve with Apple slice, but you can ask for change into fries. So the Apple slice was taken 8.5 out of 10. So make it default first, and then people might stick to that behavior that we offer, but we still give them freedom to change. This is the example. So in the second one is about the choice of the beverage on the vending machine. We changed the Coca-Cola with the real sugar to the last choice. Move them from the
first one
to the last one. Just even move the choice to there, we can reduce ordering the consumption around like 20 or 30% within the period of observing. So this is the example. This is like reduce the package size of paracetamol. In the past, like the UK before 1998, the package of paracetamol, you can buy like a package of 100 pills,
20 pills per.
But when they reduce that, the liver toxicity data falls, like the people get harmed from paracetamol less.
Because they reduce the package.
Yes, because
so
like
people consume less paracetamol.
Or sometimes if they want to take the more medicine to harm themselves, they have to just unpack it pill by pill. So it's hard for them. And maybe it makes them more aware that what they are doing right now.
So they play with the friction, sometimes less friction, sometimes more friction.
Yes, and I think Austria, like since 1st of February this year, they just reduced the package size from 15 to 12. So because of this reason.
Okay.
So this is like the way we remove the friction, remove the style to feel the behavior. This is a strider. This is a bicycle that have no pedal. Because the bicycle shop owners, he has kids, and he impatient waiting his kids to practice balancing riding the bicycle. So what he designed is just taking the pedal out because the kids' legs it's enough to making balance. So when he designed this bike, so every kids can start riding the bicycle. So if we think about friction, not think about trying to make something addition, but sometimes to eliminate something that prevent you from doing that behavior as well. And the strider like sell a lot in Japan. Even it start thinking in German, but it's become popular in Japan.
Yeah,
this is the example. The third one, limited attention. When we design things like a plate or dish, the plate size is affect the portion of rice that you will fill in. If you just change, because when sometimes we would like to design behavior, we think about make them information, no information, something like that, but just changing the tools that they are using, we can change behavior directly. When you change like the bowl size.
So we decrease thing that we consume with less rice, less noodle.
Yes. So this is the example of that. Or sometimes make it more fun. Like this is like a trash bin. So we just put the label like if you have IQ more than 150, you have to use this side. But if you think you cannot, you have to admit that your IQ may be lower. Maybe your intelligence is not that right.
Yeah.
So this is to make it more fun, make it to the intention into advantages.
I will bring that home. I will bring the trash home.
So, and this is like the vending machine. They're trying to thinking about showing branding, showing the picture of beverage or just the color can prime them the behavior. But the result of this research is not statistically significant. So that like it's a show that the important is you have to test, you have to keep the experiment. Otherwise, you're gonna think that this works all the time, but sometimes it's not.
Okay, let's summarize on the fourth one and fifth one.
Yeah, okay. The fourth one is the keyword of this is just remind things. This is like we would like people to order less sugar beverage. But the point is don't have to introduce them any knowledge, but just let the shop owner ask all the time that what kind of sweetness you would like. Just remind them to order the sweetness. This is like the change of visually. So normally when you do the branding, you do the advertisement, people just see on the model face or just the words, not see the product itself. But when we change the eyeline of the model to the products, people see on the product more. So that's returning some subtle change, but we can nudge people to see more. Or this is like the ad that people normally see the kid's face but not see the information. So we change the kid to look at the information so people read it more.
People look at the information more, okay.
Okay. This is like to make it show like more prominent. Like this is the very fresh orange juice. So the time stamp on the bottle, like this very fresh is just produced at the 8 o'clock.
In the morning,
something.
right?
Yeah, in the morning, something
It's
like
very
that.
fresh. Okay.
Okay, so this is like the decoy choice. Like we have, if we presented by the choice like small, medium, and large, people might choose the large one. But if we just taken out the decoy choice in the middle, we found that people not choose the large one anymore. Maybe some people just change the decision into the small one. And this happens all the times in our real life. Maybe our product, our options that we offer, we might put some decoy choice in the middle so that people change the decision into something higher. This is like the effect that we can find. Sometimes we would like to sell the middle one because like if I show you this choice, people might
I will choose the 200 one.
yeah, but when I put like the higher price beside them, so people choose more on the $500 thing.
That's why I use
Yeah.
iPhone Pro right now.
Yeah, this is like the things that we see all the time. Or sometimes you go on dating when you bring your friends that look beautiful less than you a bit. So sometimes when your friends asking you to the party, just think that you are using your friend or your friend is using you as like comparison. The last one, I think I can go to the last one. Learn from others. So just put some information beside, make you aware that this is the electricity bill. So normally you have the bill that tell that you use 2,300 units per month. But you don't know how much is it. Is that high or low? But you compare by yourself in the past. But when you put the information of your neighbors along with the efficient neighbors, you feel that, oh, I use a lot of electricity. So I'm not efficient at all. I'm not energy saver. So maybe I have to change my behavior. Or even the doctor prescribing antibiotics. The experiment just give them information that how much they prescribe the antibiotic. Maybe it reduce their bias of self-confidence so that they know that compared to others, he is the person who order a lot of like the antibiotic. I think to summary all, I have 5 tips. Loss aversion. People tend to feel more aware of loss than gain. Second, think about the friction, how we facilitate behavior better, or if we would like them to more rational, just nudge them to become more aware. The third, about the visually, the limited attention. What we will show, it will introduce what they think and what they will behave. And the fourth one, comparison with others. It's what humans always do. And the last one, we always learn from reviews or other feedback.
Okay, and now it's time for some questions
Just
from
2
the
questions,
audience.
they say.
The one that people vote the most is the first one.
Okay, sure.
How should we start to unlock our rational side if we are often emotional?
Okay.
How to start rational?
Okay, so listen to our podcast. Oh no, I'm kidding. So maybe when you read the books and you're aware of your bias, maybe you become more rational. Because bias is prone in human already. The books that I suggest is Think Again by Adam Grant. That Think Again will make you aware that what kind of bias that we have a lot, so that you can start from that step. And after that, it keep practicing because you cannot get rid of those bias, but just aware and you make decision after you aware. I think that is the good start. Yeah.
Okay, and maybe the second question.
Is the gamification is one way of nudge? Yes, it's kind of like nudge because we make them more enjoy, make them more attractive with the incentive. But if we force them to do, maybe it's not nudge. But if it's like a choice that they can choose or maybe they can change, it still falls in the category of nudge. It depends on that they force them or not, limited of choice or not. We still have freedom for them or not. So that is what we define.
Maybe the last question here.
Yes.
Do you have any recommend trigger word choice for the first tip? The one loss aversion you have mentioned.
Oh, the first tip, loss aversion. Framing is very important. Framing with the keyword, like framing loss is better than framing gain. So you change the text of that, it makes people more aware.
Okay, I think that's
That's
all the
all,
time.
that's all. Thank
all
you.
the time we have today,
Yes.
and we would like to huge thanks to our audience. A huge thanks to Cadson Demak team who invited us today. And I think until next time.
Yeah.
You soon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
ขอบคุณครับ